Hello, people. How you guys doing? Wow, this is good. This is Konucha series, and I want us to briefly talk about this scarcity of petroleum products in Nigeria. This is my debut broadcast on YouTube. I said, let me just come today and talk to my fans about this issue concerning Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate that since 1960, Nigeria has been having one problem or the other. You know, as we all know, Nigeria is the sixth largest producer of crude oil in the whole world. Yet, we cannot have petroleum produced locally for the people of Nigeria. We have 4 refineries. We have one in Kaduna, in Port Harcourt, Warri, other 2 in Port Harcourt, 2 in Rivers State, 1 in Warri, and 1 in Kaduna State. They used to pump crude oil to Kaduna for refining. So you begin to wonder what is actually going on in that country. In a country that has abundance of petroleum products, yet people are buying a liter of petrol for 900 naira in Lagos. If you go to the southern part of Nigeria, you go to southeast, south, it's even costing more than it costs in Lagos. What do? They will now import, they will take the crude oil to offshore, refineries, refine them, bring them back. Sometimes they say they're paying subsidies, they're doing. See, how can you continue to do the same thing and expect a different result? That is the definition of madness. You cannot continue doing the same thing and expect a different result. It's not possible. You understand? Just a second. Let me turn off my distance. Sorry, a little interruption. So, to me, it does not make any sense. How can you take crude oil from Nigeria, take it to foreign countries, refine them, and bring it back? Does it make sense? Doubling the money that should have been used locally to refine those products. You cannot be paying for something you have under your feet. This is our own liquid gold. We are not buying this crude oil from somewhere. We have it. So why can't we refine it? The money that is being used to take it outside the country, bring it back, could repair the refineries. If Dangote could establish a refinery in Lake Axis, why can't the federal government repair the old ones they have? Even though they can, why can't they privatize it to individuals who are ready to put these refineries into work? You cannot continue to allow the citizens of that country to be suffering. There is no electricity to power houses, power cars, power industries. The ministers of the countries are leaving the country because they cannot afford the overhead cost. Michelin left Nigeria for Ghana. Dunlop has left Guinness. You see, this Guinness, this company that produces stout is about to leave after 75 years. The other pharmaceutical company has left. They are leaving because the overhead cost that comes from lack of power is giving them some serious headache. So they are going to countries where there is availability of electricity. Because any country that does not have electricity is doomed. This is 21st century we are talking about. We have ways we can generate power for the people. Because the worst thing that can happen to anybody in any country is where you cannot access electricity. You use it to power your house, to cook, freeze food in the refrigerators, do ironing, do some stuffs. Without power, there's virtually nothing you can do. You can't even sleep if the house is not having a temperature. If it's too hot, you can hardly sleep. You're gonna have mosquitoes. You're gonna have all manners of bites from some insects. If you don't have power, if you can turn on the fan, turn on the AC, you can have a convenient and comfortable sleep. So this is what is going on in Nigeria. So I'm not asking this question. Why can't the government repair these refineries that are lying fallow? It was the past governments that built these refineries and they were able to maintain them. I had worked in oil and gas company in the past. Sometimes we used to go and repair their flow cells, pipes, pumps, turbines, and what have you. So, what is it that is so difficult that the government cannot come together and harness the natural resources God has endowed with, has endowed the country with? We have mineral resources. We have the bauxite, the iron ore. We have gold. We have all kinds of mineral resources. These resources are not being tapped. Rather, they are tapped illegally by foreigners. And the money goes to private individuals. It doesn't go to the government. They don't even pay tax. So how long will people continue to wait? Are people not seeing all these anomalies going on? What is going on? People are not even talking. Only few people are talking in Nigeria. The youth are busy chasing shadows. So sometimes I begin to ask these basic questions. Does it mean that we don't think? What actually is the government doing when they go to office? The governors, the ministers, what actually do they do when they're in their offices? What actually do they do? Are they there attending funerals, attending a borehole commissioning, going for one thing or the other? What actually are they doing to improve the lives of Nigerians? If you don't have electricity, you don't have running water, you don't have security, you don't have good network of roads, where would people start from to even manage the high cost of things in Nigeria? There's super inflation. I call it spiral inflation. I'm sorry. To get the money is very difficult, but to spend it is very easy. A loaf of bread is going for 1,005. Tomatoes are everything is virtually expensive, and to get this money is not easy, but to spend it is much easier because the money has no value. Somebody can offer somebody 100,000 naira, before you know it, the money is finished. How will people pay their children their tuition fees? How will people pay for house rent? But if there is affordable power, for people to use, people can easily create jobs. The welders can function, the barber shops can function, the people that are into mechanized farming can function, but without power, there's nothing they can do. That's why things are getting difficult. Nigerians are just consuming what they get from foreign countries, from Vietnam, from China. Virtually everything we use is imported. We're into consumer kind of activity. We do not produce. That's why the last time they were doing the election, they were talking about, people were talking about moving from consumption to production. For you to improve on the economy, there has to be a productive capacity of a nation. There are certain things you must produce locally so I can save your money. Because when you begin to import, there is pressure on the naira. You're trying to convert to dollars to get foreign revenue to import things. But if you are producing locally, you have an export, you earn foreign revenue in dollars, thereby increasing our GDP. Our GDP is very low because we produce nothing. So these are the things we are talking about in that country. But when we say them, people will tell you, say, no, it will be better, it will be okay. It cannot be okay if the indices of change are not being seen. There must be visible signs to show that things gonna change. You can't keep telling people to pray, to have patience, to have hope. You're gonna be okay, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. We are not seeing any signs of change. Nothing is being done to avert the impending loom or the impending catastrophe that is looming all over the country. We cannot continue to tell the same stories day in, day out without having decisive actions that are being laid by the government. Buhari was there for 8 good years. He didn't do nothing. He created more trouble for the people, borrowed more money ever than the past administrations. The current government, they are buying luxurious vehicles for the government officials from National Assembly to the cabinet members. They are just wasting money. But you tell people to have patience, to tighten their belt. But you, who are the chief servants of the people, are not tightening your belt. You are living like kings and emperors. How can Nigeria, the most populous black nation in Africa, not have electricity in the 21st century? People cannot access electricity. If you bring power 2 minutes, you take it again. In Lagos, where many people live, I used to get complaints. You hardly have power for 30 minutes at a go. They're gonna bring it 5 minutes. They keep messing up things, appliances. When they bring this power, sometimes they bring over voltage, over voltage. We just burn everything because it's coming and going. It's not stable. It's not steady. We don't have good infrastructures that will enable people to create jobs for the army of unemployed youths. The universities, the polytechnics are producing graduates on a yearly basis, but there are no places to absorb these graduates that are being rolled out from the higher institutions. Are we not planning ahead of time? So sometimes I begin to wonder what actually is the problem with our people. Does it mean that we don't have the mental capacity to calculate and do what is right? Or are we playing games? How long shall we continue to be seeing all these brass matters? People masquerade everywhere, doing as if they are working, but they are not working. You drive in the morning to office, you go back home, you don't evaluate what you have done so far. How do they evaluate their performance? There has to be a driven, focused performance by the government officials. What have I achieved in a 6 month period? What have I achieved in a 1 year period? What am I going to achieve? How am I going to do this or that? Adopt the SWOT analysis. Know people's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and be able to plan ahead of time. We have so many people, that is up to 200 million people. If you continue doing this, you're not presenting jobs for the unemployed youth, you're not presenting anything for the people. One day there will be a serious implosion. And when it happens, we begin to blame the devil. We are not doing our own part. Can't we try our best to do our own part? We have all it takes. We have the natural resources. We have human resources to man these stuffs. But nobody is doing it because we lack leadership. There's no leadership to control these activities. Everybody is on his own. You go to the government, all you're going to do is to loot money. You don't have the interest of the country at heart. All you want is to loot, 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 loot. The former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, stole, returned 4 trillion naira. What's going on? Sorry, guys. The former CBN governor returned 4 trillion naira. How much does he have at home? How much does he have in overseas accounts? If he could return a whopping sum of 4 trillion naira, how much does he have? This is money he cannot even finish using in his lifetime. Even his first generation cannot finish making use of that money. If you are spending a million every day, that money is going to last up to a million years. Why must somebody loot to that tune of amount of money? Of what use? If not wickedness, if not selfishness, if not greed. If you have passion for humanity, if you have love for humanity, why should somebody stole the patrimony of the entire nation? But because of that greed, sometimes we use certain terms, they say that we're insulting our black people, but we are the cause of our problems. We are the architects of our misfortunes. Why should somebody steal 4 trillion? For you to return 4 trillion, it means you have more. And there is no accountability for these people that are looting, people's money. This is taxpayers' money. They are looting it with reckless abandon, without any consequence, with no penalties, with no punishment. You steal and go, you steal and go. They've been stealing. Let me forget the past people. They weren't so wicked. They've been stealing since 1996. Since 1990, they've been stealing massively people's words, going to private individuals, and people are not talking. So it's damn pathetic, it's damn painful. We keep talking. We YouTubers, we are using social media platforms to reach out to people, to create that awareness for people to begin to ask questions, begin to ask the government to begin to do the right thing. Because if we continue this way, things might get out of hand. The suffering is too much. People cannot comfortably go to market and buy things for their kids, for their families. People are just roaming the streets of Nigeria, suffering and smiling the way Fala sang it in those days. There is suffering and smiling. People are just managing. People are just walking up and down doing nothing. Most people are scalar quantities. They walk no direction because there's nothing to do to earn money. We don't have productive economy. We don't have industries. We don't have viable ministries to absorb people that are finishing their high institutions, what have you. Nothing is working. Only a select few that have contact with the government. These are the people that are enjoying themselves or that have connection or relatives to people in power. But an average Nigerian does not have any leeway to survivability unless people go into all manners of criminalities. That's why I see people doing all manners of things, going to ritualism, doing juju to make money, killing people, buying people just to make money. Because there is no good way to make money in Nigeria, if not going into all manners of criminalities. Because man must survive, man must work, man must feed. That's what we tell you. Nobody cares. You go to certain ministries that are taking bribes to sustain themselves. Even the money they're receiving as salaries are not enough to keep their families going. That's why you go to airport, they start begging you money. Any place you go, they're begging you money at the toilet, at the bathrooms. Everybody is turning into a beggar. Because of what? Because the money they are being paid is too small. They are talking about minimum wage. They should raise it to 60K or 100K. That's the deliberating rate. I don't know whether they've arrived, the NS, and the government have arrived at a consensus of what the minimum is going to be. There's suffering everywhere, monumental suffering in the country. Well, I'm going to be ending this short broadcast very shortly, but this is my debut appearance on YouTube, and I'm glad that it works. So I'm gonna, find out more ways to make it better. I thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next episode. Do have a good day.